Somewhere in the Bolivian highlands, there's a stone block cut with a precision that shouldn't exist. No metal tools. No wheel. No draft animals strong enough to move it. And it's not alone. Scattered across South America, from the Andes to the Amazon, there are at least 13 structures that archaeologists still can't fully explain. Not aliens. Not fantasy. Real sites, real stone, real questions nobody's answered. By the end of this video, you'll know which ones, and why the biggest mystery isn't who built them. It's why we keep pretending we understand more than we do. For most of the last 2 centuries, the story of South America was simple: hunter-gatherers, then the Inca, then the Spanish. Neat. Linear. Easy to teach. But wait, that timeline has holes in it. Big ones. Some of the stonework we're about to look at predates the Inca by over 1,000 years. Some of it uses cutting techniques the Inca themselves apparently couldn't reproduce. And some of it sits in places so remote, we didn't even know it existed until satellite imaging found it. So if the simple story is wrong, what actually happened here? Let's start with the block that started it all. High on the Bolivian Altiplano, near Lake Titicaca, sits Pumapunku, part of the ancient city of Tiwanaku. The site is scattered with massive andesite blocks cut into repeating, interlocking H shapes, so precise that some stones fit together like machined parts. Andesite is one of the hardest stones on Earth. Whoever cut these didn't have iron tools. Here's the part that gets debated. Some blocks show cut angles so exact, modern masons have struggled to replicate them by hand. Mainstream archaeology says advanced stone grinding techniques and immense labor time. Fringe researchers say something else entirely. We'll come back to that. But Pumapunku isn't even the most photographed mystery in the region. That title belongs somewhere flatter and stranger. You've probably seen these, the giant geoglyphs etched into the Peruvian desert, a hummingbird, a monkey, a spider, lines running dead straight for miles. Here's what most people don't know: many of these figures are so large, you literally cannot recognize them from the ground. They were designed to be seen from above, in a civilization with no known flight. The leading theory is ritual pathways tied to water and astronomy. It's a solid theory. It's also, notably, a theory, not a confirmed fact. And it gets stranger the further inland you go. Deep in the cloud forest of northern Peru sits Quilap, a walled fortress city built by the Chachapoya, the warriors of the clouds, centuries before the Inca ever arrived. The outer wall alone rises over 60 feet, built along a mountain ridge so steep the site was essentially forgotten by the outside world until the 1800s. Over 400 circular stone structures sit inside. Why build a fortress this massive, this remote, this defensible, and then let it be swallowed by jungle for hundreds of years? Nobody's fully answered that. Quilap was lost to the jungle. The next site wasn't found until helicopters started flying overhead. Ciudad Perdida, the lost city, sits deep in Colombia's Sierra Nevada, built by the Tairona people. Radiocarbon dating puts parts of it at around 800 CE, that's roughly 650 years older than Machu Picchu. It has over 200 stone terraces, connected by stairways carved directly into the mountainside. Local looters actually found it before archaeologists did, in the 1970s. It raises an uncomfortable question: how many more of these are still out there, unmapped, under canopy? In southern Colombia, San Agustin holds the largest collection of monumental religious sculpture in South America. Hundreds of carved stone statues, some over 10 feet tall, depicting figures that are part human, part animal, part something else entirely. Nobody knows for certain who carved them. The culture that made them left no written language, and by the time the Spanish arrived, the sites were already ancient ruins to them. Think about that for a second. These statues were already a mystery 500 years ago. And then there's Chan Chan, the largest adobe city ever built in the pre-Columbian Americas. At its peak, it may have housed tens of thousands of people, built almost entirely from mud brick, decorated with intricate carved friezes of sea creatures and geometric patterns. it's also disintegrating. Adobe doesn't survive rain the way stone does, and climate shifts are actively eroding one of the largest ancient cities on the continent, in real time, right now. So we've got precision stonework nobody can fully replicate, cities lost for centuries, and monuments older than empires we consider ancient. Which brings us to the real question. Here's what we can say with confidence. 1. Radiocarbon and stratigraphic dating confirms several of these sites predate the Inca Empire by centuries, sometimes over 1,000 years. That's verified, not speculation. 2. The stone-cutting precision at sites like Puma Punku remains genuinely debated among archaeologists and engineers, not because of ancient aliens, but because reconstructing the exact tools and techniques used is still an open research problem. 3. Many of these sites weren't lost in some mystical sense. They were simply outside colonial record-keeping, buried under jungle growth, or in regions too remote to survey, until LiDAR and satellite imaging changed what's findable. So why isn't this common knowledge? Mostly funding and attention. South American archaeology has historically received a fraction of the research funding and media coverage that Egypt or Greece get, not because the sites are less significant, but because the story around them got told less. That's starting to change. New LiDAR surveys across the Amazon basin alone have revealed hundreds of previously unknown structures in the last decade. So here's what we actually know. South America wasn't a blank map before the Inca. It was layered with civilizations, Tiwanaku, Chachapoya, Tirona, and cultures whose names we've lost entirely, each building things we're still trying to fully understand. If even a fraction of what's buried under the Amazon canopy matches what LiDAR has already found, then the 13 unexplained structures in this video might just be the ones we happen to notice first. And that's a story for another video, because the newest LiDAR discoveries in the Amazon are arguably stranger than everything you just watched. If you want that one next, hit subscribe so you don't miss it.